Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Wednesday show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar, the original Couch and the Rube sponsor. Unbelievable place to watch a game, to watch the Final Four. If you're not sure you can stomach watching Michigan play Arizona and what might go on there, you can be next to lots of taps of great beer and other drinks right at your disposal, and other TVs to watch other games and other people who you can commiserate with. Or if you're a Michigan fan, and just enjoy it with. Front 43 and Cask & Company are near the Lansing-East Lansing border. That's just north of Frandor on East Saginaw. You can also make a reservation, especially on the Cask & Company side on the weekend. I think it makes sense to do so because they do get a little busy. It's a popular place with a great menu. caskandcompany.com, easy reservation system right there. Jason, how you doing, brother? I do hear your voice in my head when I take a shit.
Are you raising your voice at me?
People are nuts. I'm not nuts. They're nuts.
What's up, buddy?
Tom Izzo's a little nuts.
Is he?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And he's the best, too. You know what isn't the best? April Fool's Day.
That's the worst.
Fuck, I forgot about it.
It's the worst.
And then I'm sitting there doing golf bets and doing other things, and I see, like, Russell Henley withdraws. I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm, like, scrambling. And I'm like, oh, fuck, April Fool's Day. Son of a bitch. Guys got me. I hate it. It's the worst day of all time.
It's becoming an auto mute for me. I will mute you, and I'll forget that I muted you, and we won't be able to interact. If you make an April Fool's joke on here,
not a good day for you.
I just can't do it.
Graham Couch mutes you.
Yeah, I mean that's who.
There's no way you remember if you mute somebody.
Every once in a while you do, because what happens is it's the show account where somebody gets a hold of me or gets a hold of us. No, I've not muted Harms. Jesus, man. But every once in a while, there's like an interaction on the show account. I'm like, and I see myself tagged also, and I'm like, why don't I see that? And then I'm like, oh, I muted that person. That's why. So
then you go back and unmute, or no?
Yeah, like Dominic, I muted it everywhere. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that.
W word. When you start using the W word, Dominic, is when I unmute you.
Like, imagine this guy over here.
Sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, then the Tom Izzo thing. I'm sitting there, I have Dan Patrick on in the background.
Well, so you didn't know if it was an April Fool's joke because it's April Fool's. This is the problem with April Fool's. There should be no media interviews on April Fool's, no social media. We just take a day away. That's what we do on April Fool's. But you want to play the bit?
I do have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was thinking about going to the Lakers because you were thinking about going to the Cavaliers. What was the advice that you gave him at that time?
Well, I didn't want to lose him in college basketball because I think he's so good for it. But I did say we got to keep an eye on what's happening in our profession, too. And I don't know what I'd do if it was today. You know, like he had the chance about a year or two ago. And I think things are so crazy in college athletics right now. I don't know if I'd feel different if I was to be very honest with you, because I think something has to be done with the insanity we're going through. But I don't think anybody else cares, so I'll just keep plucking along and see if I can get to a Final Four again.
Well, let's say that opportunity came up given these circumstances with the Cavaliers, and, you know, I don't know how old you were at the time, but...
Well, I was a lot younger, but I've had more than a couple job offers in the NBA, and looked at one last year with Phoenix, and my former player, Matt Ishbia. And that was hard. That was a hard thing to turn down because, number one, I kind of wanted to go with him. Number two,
so they offered you the head coaching job?
Well, we talked seriously about it, let's say that. And then number two is, I've been pretty vocal about it. I don't like what's going on in college athletics. But by the way, neither do 99.8%.
All right, and he goes on to that, but that was the
So
in the middle of that, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And then I'm like, oh, is this April Fool's from Tom Izzo? And then I texted you, and you're like, Izzo doesn't even know it's April Fool's Day. And I'm like, valid. That's a valid point.
Izzo has no idea. Not only does he not know it's April 1st, he also doesn't know what April Fool's is. Remember, he thinks that a white elephant Christmas party is the elephant in the room.
Back to the white elephant in the room.
So again,
they don't want to deal with the white elephant in the room. He's a bull in a china closet.
Here's my favorite thing about Izzo. Now, a couple things. One, this is not entirely new. It was reported a while back in The Athletic that there were some conversations that Ishbia talked about wanting, Izzo or whatever. Izzo was, I don't believe, ever going to leave Michigan State for the Phoenix Suns. I think he liked still being courted. I think it's something 10 years ago he might have considered. In his 70s, he's not going to go be an NBA coach. He has too much going with his own program right now. Too much he knew in his heart of hearts he was never going to go. I think Ishbia would be wild to take him. Ishbia, who is given a lot to MSU, would be thought of differently. He'd be the thought of the guy who just stole Izzo away to go be what, an NBA coach on a 40-win team, and like you're never going to do anything anyway? Like what the hell is that? Now, that's not the way Ishbia thinks in terms of his possibilities. He wound up hiring Jordan Ott, who I think one day could be a good successor for Izzo. And Jordan Ott is a fantastic coach. I mean, if you watch Phoenix play this year, he has gotten the most out of them. That was a really good coaching hire. I don't know that Izzo in the NBA in his 70s would have been. Now, maybe he would have. Maybe it was an itchy. I'm sure it's an itch at some point in his life. He will always wonder about
today's NBA, though. There's no way.
But is today's NBA more difficult than today's college basketball?
Well, there's no rules in college basketball. I think if there were,
which
there would be a no-brainer. That's what perked my ears on it because of Izzo being disgusted and with seeing how the way college basketball was going. So basically, we're just saying Ishbia and Izzo had some deep conversations.
I think Izzo
had
knew
a whiskey or something, and we're like getting a little lit.
I think both of them knew, heart of hearts, it was not going to happen. Right. I would be stunned. It's
fun to talk about the possibility of it happening.
I've had moments in my life, and this is not like an Izzo comp, where you had somebody sort of reach out to you with a job possibility.
Ooh.
But you knew in your heart of hearts you weren't going to do it. But it's still flattering. It's still fun to talk it through.
The Athletic.
I'm not.
Is that what you're talking
about? What I'm saying is, where I knew where my feet were. I knew where I wanted to be. I had made that decision long ago. My wife and I had made the decision we were going to be in Lansing.
You saw the McLaren deal at LSJ.
Yeah, you see it there.
I'm not going anywhere.
Izzo has made this bargain to be at MSU. He loves who he is at MSU. He loves being Tom Izzo. He doesn't get to be Tom Izzo anywhere else.
No.
And he knows that. And I'm not saying this isn't newsworthy. And I've sort of poo-pooed it a little online because what this is the end of year Izzo media tour that a little bit. Like, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, he's on our good friend Tim Stout show, which is amazing that Tim Stout is
the dean.
Which tells you where Izzo is. Izzo's still going on the shows that were relevant in, 1986 and 1994.
Could have yelled out the window of his office and heard more people were listening.
Anyway, but a lot of people obviously heard it and aggregated. So Izzo has all these things that he'll say or somebody will say off the record all year long. And then he'll go on Stout's show and just spill the beans. You're like, well, wait a second. What
and
the
then
hell?
People are tagging, as heard today at Tim Stout 10 show today. And I'm like, whoa, look at the dean.
I'm not even sure some of these contracts for games he's talking about are signed yet. I'm not sure. So anyway,
dude, but that's a great bit.
Izzo just
he should do it on April Fool's Day on the Dean show. That'd be even better.
But he's also not wrong. I mean, he's not making games up. I mean, he brings up the Gonzaga game. That is, you can figure out the last Saturday in December and where they played before, in Palm Desert and places like that, and where that game might be. You can figure that out. Figure that out on your own. I'm not gonna, he brings up the Arkansas game, which was interesting because Arkansas, I think we all thought was going to be a game that was played in Fayetteville, and my understanding is that could still happen at some point down the road. But this game is going to be in Detroit.
Stay tuned for the Tim Stout show if you
on Thanksgiving. Yeah. So anyway, it is.
It was just So basically, it's out there to say, hey,
it's out.
Don't take Tom Izzo for granted. He could have left, kind of vibe. But yeah, I don't know.
On the Phoenix Suns thing, I do not think he was going to leave. It doesn't mean that he and Ishbia wouldn't have had that conversation about. Would this be possible? What would this look like? But in the heart of hearts, he knows he's not.
What was the best case, obviously, for the Phoenix Suns if Izzo did take it? You win a NBA championship, you get paid, go off into the sunset. But the opposite side of that, I mean, why would he? Yeah, I think it's just too much to risk,
too much,
even
to lose.
legacy wise.
Yep. 100%.
You can walk around Michigan State, do whatever you want. People love you
do that.
March.
You could do that to some degree anyway. But yeah, it's
Not
the
in the
timing
NBA
was bad.
anymore,
No, I'm talking about an MSU coming back. He would have still been a legend. What he did for 30 years, and a lot would have depended on how they replaced him and what that looked like. It wasn't going to happen. I'm not saying if Izzo said to Ishbia, "I'd like to do this," that Ishbia wouldn't be fiercely interested. But I think in the heart of hearts, Izzo knows, man. I mean, I'm not saying Izzo doesn't. If Izzo had to do each time he's turned on the NBA, and he's legitimately turned on the NBA a number of times, from everything I've been told, but would he have?
Well, there was the Atlanta Hawks gig way back in the
Cavaliers, and he will tell you
that we know about,
and he will tell you there are several others, and I don't doubt those in his 50s and 40s and 50s and even early 60s that there were opportunities. And I think as he got later, I think if Flip Saunders had still been alive and is still in charge of the Timberwolves, I don't know what would have happened there, because they were close, and he needed. I think one thing Izzo always said is he needed to be able to trust the management ownership, which is something he has at Ishbia, right? He has his guy. If you look at who's in place throughout that, it's basically his. It's Brian Gregory is the GM. His former assistant is the GM in Arizona. So there's lots. Like if you're to go to a place where you'd feel like, hey, I've got time, they're not going to do to me what happened to John Beilein out in Cleveland. It's not going to go like that. Like that would be Phoenix. I'm telling you, with the guys he has coming back, this is the guy who said it'd be a cold day in hell before he gave up on Cohen Carr. What's a fucking hot day
in hell before I give up on Cohen Carr?
It's a hot day in Phoenix, man. It's a hot day in Phoenix to give up on Cohen Carr all the time.
I stepped on your great joke.
Yeah, you did. I'm sorry.
Fuck, I'm so sorry.
Anyway, it is. But I don't think it's legit. Doesn't mean it's not newsworthy. Izzo said it. He said it on the record. He said it to Dan Patrick, which is a big show, which is even bigger than Tim Stout show, amazingly. And,
oh, man.
Dan Patrick's like in diapers compared to Tim Stout these days.
Take it easy.
Sorry.
Dan Patrick retiring in 2 years.
That's
making
true.
sure and getting. Stout should have retired. Maybe 2 years.
I didn't mean like adult diapers. I meant like he's young. I mean like he's a child relative to Tim Stout.
Yeah, usually when you hear diapers, you think of children in that age group.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Dean. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah. So anyway, that's that. The Izzo media tour, I don't think is done. So there will probably be more news. They're going to play a game on the moon.
It's heard on at Couch in the Room podcast. You imagine that shit.
Game on the moon, 2029. Most likely against Grand Canyon, which is said they want to play that game. So look forward to that.
But isn't there something more to like having that legacy though? I've always said like to have Tom Izzo's kind of legacy and have the longevity at one place
100%
is so important. You have all the money you need.
If he had
right?
if he had won another title and then and I do think when he wins another title, he'd like to run it back as a defending champion if that were to happen. But say that had happened. Say that he won a title 3 years ago and then ran it back, and they've been good since then, but he had won a second title. And he was sick of this, or the thing that I think would, again, we've talked about this too, he has been able to maintain this culture where guys have been now they're still getting paid, but relatively loyal to him. He's been loyal to them, and he's been able to keep something that doesn't really exist very many places in college basketball. I think if that had fallen apart already, and he was, losing 6 guys a year, if Cohen Carr and Jeremy Fears were bailing on him, it'd be like, man, do I really want to do this anymore? I don't. Let's go do something else. I can see there being scenarios still, and Matt Ishbia being the only place, probably ownership-wise, that would still make sense, that would probably desire Izzo and where he would feel comfortable going in. But I don't see it under these circumstances. I'm not. Izzo said it on the record. I'm not doubting the serious conversation they had. I am doubting that it was ever in Izzo's real mind or even Ishbia's real mind that it was going to happen. I am doubting that. And if those two tell me to F off and I'm wrong, then we'll have that conversation. Izzo may do that in his office to me at some point. The good news is, unless Steven Izzo shows him this clip, he will not have heard this show. So
coach my team.
We don't have to doubt that.
And we said, would somebody please guard somebody?
So we also are going to talk. We're going to get away from a little bit of basketball today. We're going to have our friend Nick Baumgardner on here from The Athletic.
Yeah.
And talk some Lions, talk some Frank Ragnow, talk some draft. Just take, a little mental health
Rod
break.
Wood? Didn't he retire? Can we ask Nick? I thought he was retiring, Rod Wood.
Is he still there?
I keep seeing his name and shit. I'm just like, dude, isn't it enough? What are we doing here?
We'll talk some MSU U of M with him as well in terms of the fan
longer
bases
than the Miggy retirement.
And some dynamics there, I think, because I do think there's some interesting things going on. Like one is think about how long the Michigan State Big Ten fans have waited for a chance to win another national championship in basketball, taking a lot of grief for a lot of years. Legitimate chance to do this with two teams, and yet, like Michigan State fans would do anything for it not to happen this year, or at least one side of that bracket.
Go Arizona.
Yeah, that's what. Right,
Let's go.
That's what a lot of people think. We'll also have some of our best bets for this weekend in the NCAA tournament and golf bets from Norm/Jason in a little bit. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, our friend Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch in the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar, an outstanding place to watch games this weekend, commiserate. If the result you're looking for isn't happening, lots of beer on tap. Front 43 and Cask & Company. Very pleased now to have good friend Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic on, also the co-host of the Welcome to Detroit podcast with former MSU writer Colton Pouncey, covers the Lions as well. Really good listen. Would urge you, if you're into the Lions, especially if you're looking at right now, if you're thinking draft, you're looking to get away from everything basketball because you're an MSU fan, download their podcast. It might be a good mental health break for you a little bit. Nick, how you doing, man?
Good, Graham. That's not a bad idea. We should run like a promo or something for Michigan State fans right now. If you want to get away from this, especially this weekend coming up, right?
When you get into the live read game, Nick, you start to think about all these things. Absolutely, that's right. That's right. You have lived the Michigan State rivalry as a writer. You went to Michigan State. You've seen it from that side. Like what right now? What do you think Michigan State fans are going through right now?
Oh God, it's not good. I don't think it's good. And honestly, I don't love I didn't love all the whine. And I don't know if I call it whining. I get Izzo's point to a degree on a lot of this stuff, but the reality is the reality here. And, money is now sort of dictating what happens in this sport. And if there's ways around certain rules, and this has always been the case in the NCAA, guys are going to take advantage of it to a degree. And Michigan is cooking in basketball anyway, but I don't know about football as much. I think I'd be cautiously optimistic, at least in football. On basketball, I'd be a little worried if I was a Michigan State fan right now. This doesn't look great. Unless somebody can convince Dusty May to get, like North Carolina or something, says we want to, steal them. Like that, has that been brought up? Is anybody asking about that? I don't know, but
yeah, well, I think
I
think that is the dream for a lot of Michigan State fans, that he would move on, because I think there is
like that would be okay, right? Yeah,
and that's probably the ultimate sign that you actually fear somebody a little bit, when you're hopeful that he moves on somewhere else, and it's not that I mean, they're just, and I think it'll be tough for him to repeat year over year exactly what he's done this year, because you're not going to always have the perfect transfers out there, and when you try to build a new roster year over year, largely it's very difficult. But it's worked this year, and Michigan State fans are probably going to need Arizona to win to prevent a national championship, or they're going to become the biggest Illinois UConn fans in the history of the world the week after that, which is funny because forever just meant people have waited for the Big Ten to win another national championship, and now MSU fans would gladly have it hold off for a little bit.
And Michigan is one of those sleeping basketball things. It's not hard for them to get up off the ground and get rolling. That's what Beeline figured out eventually. Once he got people excited and money started coming in, it's really not that hard to get going again. The Juwan Howard thing would have collapsed so many other places, and they were right back on their feet in 30 seconds. And this is not the old days, I think, right? And I think for Izzo, the deflating thing might be in the old days when they fell, it took a while for them to get back up. They don't have to go. They don't go through that anymore, right? So it's just a different animal now.
I want to pull on a little bit of a thread. You just mentioned, you said it in football, you'd be a little more optimistic if you were an MSU fan about what's going on at Michigan. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's it. You don't know what you don't know. And Kyle Whittingham is obviously has been a great coach for a long, long time. And I think in theory, in a lot of ways, he fits a lot of what Michigan does. But he's also coming from a program where it was pretty much okay for him to have a 7-5 or 8-4 year here and there, and it'd be fine. We go on to the next year and we just erase it, and maybe we'll be better in 2 years, or we'll develop. He has never coached at a place anywhere close to having this type of pressure, never. And I don't know how that's going to impact him. I don't know how that's going to impact the staff. I don't know how that's going to go over. There's a lot of unknowns there. It could work out okay. They've got some talent. They've got a lot of talent right now, but at the same time, I don't know how that's going to go. And then I also don't know what the future. I mean, if Kyle Whittingham is your head coach, he's 66? Is that right? Mid-60s?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against having an older coach in today's world right now, because with Cignetti there, I don't think the recruiting load is as much as it used to be. But who do you have after that? I mean, I don't know. I'd be a little nervous if I were a Michigan fan. It seemed a little too clean that they got out of that without having to feel any kind of I don't know. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe he'll come in and do a fine job. But I just there's a lot that we have yet to see from the Whittingham era for me to just be oh, it's going to be fine. They'll just be in the playoff, in a year or two, whatever it is. I don't know if I could go that far right now.
What are your early impressions of Pat Fitzgerald? I saw an over-under somewhere, and I've not seen any official over-under, so we'll see if this happens, of season wins of 3.5 for Michigan State, which if that happens, I would tell people the over is a probably safe bet, because you can just,
right.
There are a lot of teams that are going to be, there are a lot of teams on their schedule that could struggle almost equally next year. But what are your early impressions of him?
So I think I'm curious to see how it's all, going to work. I think it can work. I mean, the biggest thing for me is he's coming off a pretty long layoff, and the last time he coached was kind of before all the, before this all changed. I mean, it was happening, but it hadn't totally made it shift to where this is a different game now, from what it was. But I think that could be okay. Like I just said with Whittingham, I think you're in an era now where if you can get a true CEO that doesn't have to necessarily be the guy that runs all over the place and has to recruit every single person, has to be the deciding factor on every little whatever, and you let your general manager and your money do that. And then you let this guy worry about the staff and making sure it's a good staff and making sure that you're getting the right kind of kid and you're running a good. I think he can do that. I think he could do that. I think in a way, maybe he'd even be more successful than he was in the old days when it was get the most out of a terrible program. Well, that was his MO at Northwestern, which he did a great job of for all those years. But I almost wonder now if it's if you just, because he was never an X's and O's wizard, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. If you just put him in a situation where he's got to make sure he's got a good staff, and they're running things the way that they want them to be done, and paying attention to detail, I think that could work. I don't know if it's going to be an immediate thing, but I also think Michigan State's in a position where they can wait a minute now. They've had a lot of turnover, so I think people, and I would imagine that fans are probably ready to hey, look, we'll hunker in behind a guy and we'll go through some stuff as long as there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And I think he's at least capable of maybe providing some of that. So I think that that was an interesting hire at the time, but I think the more I look at it, the more I probably come around to liking it, or having a shot anyway.
Yeah, the thing he has going for him too is he's hired by this administration, and people are aware you can't just change coaches every 2 years. He fits the mold of what the best of Michigan State football has been in terms of the D'Antonio style. In terms of a little bit of fire behind him, he just fit. He's just a better fit, right? And so you're going to ride that out, and you just can't move on. You got to give a guy a chance, and we'll see what they do resource wise. He did talk, I think yesterday, just about the fact that they had just zero in his last couple of years at Northwestern. Like the amount of NIL was like nothing, and
nothing.
And you saw that reflected a little bit in the wins and losses. So we'll see where that goes. And we'll see how quickly he can get the offensive line fixed, because as Nick will tell you, that's where this is going to.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Let's talk some Lions here. The Frank Ragnow story here.
Oh God!
Do the Lions just? I don't want to say. I mean, they just, from a PR standpoint, they've done a lot of good in the last few years.
Right.
But this is one area they just keep fumbling over. Like with Ragnow, they want part of his signing bonus back. Here's a guy who's probably won't be able to walk straight or think straight the rest of his life because of what he gave to the Lions. And we had this issue with Calvin Johnson. There's you go back to Barry Sanders and certain things. Like, what is this?
It's nonsense. It's nickel and dime nonsense. And I really don't know if this is Rod Wood is retiring, right? I don't know if this is a Rod Wood only thing. He's been with the organization a long time.
When is he retiring? Because Jason's getting frustrated over here. Like Jason's like, I keep
soon enough. For a lot of people, he's on his way out. We'll say, but he should be retired from talking. I think is really the thing. Like that interview he gave with Dave Burkett, I was like, my God, Dave, you probably could you have made him look any worse with like some of the stuff he was saying? Like Jesus, but some of that's like the way it comes off. Where it's like, and the money that they wanted back, it's like $2 million, if that. We're nickel and dime talking here, right? So it's like, and my thing is, I had a lot of people, well, how many other organizations? What's the norm here? I'm like, the norm is that you make an exception for the exceptional. And if Frank Ragnow was not the exceptional, then I don't know who is. If Calvin Johnson isn't, and then Rod Wood's comments are, well, if they didn't get their money, then Frank's not going to get his. I'm like, well, that sounds even worse.
Yeah.
So that's got to stop. Hopefully Sheila Hamp and them, they at least see the backlash here and understand that can't continue if that situation arises again.
What do you think? We're getting close to the draft here, a couple weeks out, a few weeks out. Where do you think the Lions turn their attention here? And everybody says edge rusher, but there's some needs, and there are needs up front. There are needs. Where do you think their biggest need is, and where do you think they'll turn their attention most?
So to me right now, I think that they still have a pretty big hole there at tackle. I think Penei Sewell's going to move to left tackle. Larry Borum, they signed him, who started a bunch of games last year for, I think, the Dolphins at right tackle. He could start, but I think really what they need to do is invest in one of these. There's 6 or 7 guys this year that are going to go in the first round that are first-round worthy tackles, and they're there at 17. I think they're going to have a shot to get at least one of them. That to me is what you do. You get one of those guys. You don't even necessarily have to rush him. If Borum starts the beginning of the season and he comes in as time goes on, you can hide him a little bit at right tackle. He doesn't have to be the left tackle. And in time, you're going to have a really good player there, right? So I think that would be my biggest area of focus. And I almost feel like you got to do that sooner than later in this draft. I don't know if you could address that in the later rounds the way you could in other drafts. Whereas edge, I think you could wait. So I think those are the two. Edge, and then I would also say just like youth in general defensively. They need to get younger defensively. I think that a lot of the moves they made and a lot of the releases I think they made this offseason should sort of tell you maybe some of the areas that we'll see them target in the draft. Like I think linebacker, I think we could see them, Anzalone's gone. I think they could maybe get another guy later that could come in and address some help. And then obviously edge as well. Maybe even extra 2 edges. I don't know. They only have like 1 or 2 right now. So Yeah, I think the youth, I think, is the big thing, if there's a theme at all, in what they're going to do here.
Do you have a sense? Do you think this is a year where they do anything surprising? And obviously, surprising just in its nature, it would catch people off guard. But you know what I mean? Move, add a pick, get out of it, whatever it might be. Do you think there's a big move that's unexpected to be made this draft?
I don't think so, because they don't really. They're light on assets. The only thing normally I would say. In a normal year, if they had that extra third-round pick, I would wonder if Holmes would be trying to move up in the first round to get one of the best tackle he could, to get his favorite tackle. But I don't know if they have enough right now to do that. And they're at 17, and they might be able to play the board and do okay. The only thing I can see them doing is if the board is breaking the way they want it to, is trade out and go back. That's the only thing I can see them doing. Otherwise, no, you would never rule out something weird with Holmes. But this is also he's kind of admitted – and Campbell has admitted, this is not business as usual this offseason. They've had to change a lot of things. Last year was not good, and they're going through sort of a transition phase right now, and I'm not sure he can afford to mess around with some of these, I really like this guy, and I don't care if he's a safety, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but, that would be my 2 cents. Tackle and edge are probably at the top of the list.
Draft as a whole, Mendoza, the Raiders, do we think it's a lock? And for people who don't, if you're looking for NFL draft coverage, Nick's stuff at The Athletic, even like the Raiders, you go through their draft and you talk about the impact of the Max Crosby deal falling through and all this stuff. But is Mendoza the top, and what do you think the top of the whole thing looks like right now?
Yeah, I think Mendoza, the Raiders, seems like a safe bet. There's just been no chatter that that's not going to happen. There's also been none that they want to trade the pick or anything else at all. And he's a pretty safe, bet there. Wed one as a quarterback. I think he's the only one in this class that is worthy of that distinction. Sort of like what last year's was with Cam Ward there at the top. I don't think that we're talking about anybody else probably in the top 20. I don't think that there should be another first rounder. I think that Mendoza's the only one this year that I would give a first round grade to. And then after that, I think Arvell Reese to the Jets feels pretty safe to me. The Cardinals, I'm not quite sure what they want to do. They could go edge with David Bailey. Sonny Styles is also there. They could also go tackle. We'll see. But the guys I'm curious about the most are Jeremiah Love and Caleb Downs, the running back from Notre Dame, and then Downs being the DB from Ohio State. I think Jeremiah Love's the best player in the class, and pound for pound, regardless of position. And I think Downs is in the top 5, but I don't know where they're going to go. They could fall. Who knows, based on those positions. So those are the ones where I'm really kind of curious, and somebody could be two people, I guess, could be getting a real steal if those guys start to slide.
Nick, you're a beautiful man. Thanks for taking some time, and thanks for giving people welcome to Detroit and other distractions from Michigan State basketball and and other things this week. So appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Well, very good. Yes, I'm glad to be of service finally to the good folks in East Lansing after all these years. But check out the podcast. We're there every day. So there we go. Thanks so much, Graham.
Appreciate you. That's Nick Baumgardner, covers the NFL draft, football, offensive line proponent from The Athletic. He covered Michigan for the Free Press, for MLive, went to Michigan State. He's been around these parts for a long time. Your thoughts, Jason?
That Rod Wood is ass, apparently.
Yeah.
Is he to blame for all of these things? And why did the Ford family keep Rod Wood around when you're trying to rebuild a relationship with some of these former players, and you're doing it with Barry Sanders, who, I don't know, he was gone for a decade.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson wanted nothing to do with it. You get those guys back in. You actually pay Calvin Johnson $500,000 a year just to come hang out here and there at certain events and do certain things. And then the Frank Ragnow decision comes, and you go, I'm going to need that money back. Now, as a fan, the way it was done and the way he retired, and we waited all off season last year, and then he decided to retire. Yeah, my first thought was, get some of that money back. Fuck that. But as an owner, as ownership, to have a meeting and sit there and to let a buffoon like Rod Wood, who even in his bio, it's even in there in the Wikipedia if you look it up.
Buffoon?
Well, no, it should be. It should say Buffoon Wood in there. But no, he was quoted as saying when he was hired into the Lions organization that he was not qualified. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not qualified to hold this job. Said it out loud. Was quoted and everything. And we're like, oh, okay, let's just send this asshole out and talk to Dave Burkett, and he can just yammer and embarrass the franchise. It's just, you have to sit there and think about what the fan base, you finally get everybody back on your side, And then you go, hey, Frank, we're going to need that $1 million back. $1 million to this organization. I don't give a shit if it goes against the cap. You eat it. You eat it, and you send him off his way. I don't know. The whole thing was weird. We talked about it ad nauseum throughout the season of, like, Frank. Then he tried coming back, saying, oh, yeah, I'm unretired now. And then all of a sudden, this wonky little hamstring thing I blew out. I have no idea. I can't feel it or something. It just seems fishy, like the way. And then it was like after the fact, after the season, you ask Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell about the Ragnow situation, because that was everyone's question. It was like, all right, well, can we talk to Frank this offseason and maybe he can come back? And so it just, that's why I was hesitant to give Sheila Hamp Ford all of this credit. You're like, oh, do you owe her an apology? No, I don't owe the Ford family an apology ever. And no fan owes the Ford family an apology ever in the history of the world. So it's more of a bummer than it is anything else.
Just they haven't learned. And it just there's certain things that aren't worth the money.
But I'm just saying, in a boardroom, you don't think, like, they don't sit around and go, maybe we should just, hey, does anyone stand up and go, I think we should pay Frank, and that way we just don't have all of this terrible-looking media. After we've gotten past the Barry Sanders thing, everybody likes being here again. Let's nickel and dime these motherfucking guys. And I don't know, broken throat and all this shit. I get it. All right. But every single one of these guys deserves their money. They go in there and ram their head against other dudes, the injuries are a part of it. I understand that. But it still was wild that the way Frank Ragnow left, no?
No, look, I understand there's still – I still don't understand how he didn't understand he was injured. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, he's a warrior, Graham. He knows he played with half a throat.
I have a friend who tore her Achilles tendon just the other day, and she's going in for surgery this week. And she knows she tore her Achilles tendon. It's a pretty serious injury. She knows she's limited right now. She knows it's got to, how do you not know if your hamstring is detached? How do you not know? Like, I just don't.
Because you're out fishing and you can't,
Do you not feel it when you're fishing?
Get that Tiger Woods Percocet,
such a high
through your veins.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it.
And the Decker situation, too. That was a wild one that, who knows what happened there. Like, I just don't want to be a franchise that's nickel and diming guys that have been with you. Like, do I put Frank Ragnow in the same category as Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders? No. But he still, he gave, his health up for us. And when you put the two legends together of Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson and what happened, you go, okay, here's $1 million to not have that problem go in the press. Let's be an organization that pays these guys. Thank you. No, of course not.
Yeah. No,
Rod Wood. What a penis. It's unbelievable. The loyalty in the Ford family.
I think he said a good. Rod needs to retire from talking like ASAP. Just stop.
Oh, why not? Why wouldn't you if you're Rod Wood? You're on the way out. What are they going to do? Fire you? Take away his pension, whatever they're going to give him. Can you imagine that? The goodbye party for Rod Wood. I'm like, fuck. Like, oh, I got to go to that.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, our best bets for the Final Four, as well as golf this weekend as we close in on the Masters, and we'll have to get Harry back on for the Masters next week because that'll be a fun advanced betting week as well.
Harry on this week. I wouldn't care for the Valero. I mean, just man's busy.
He is a busy man.
Things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be right back. Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com. where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. If you're looking for a relaxed vibe, great food, and an outstanding beer selection, Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing is your place. Enjoy their famed chicken and waffle fries, fish and chips, or any of their delicious burgers or salads. Midtown Brewing Company also offers 40-plus beers on tap, including ciders and seasonal offerings and daily happy hour specials. The spacious and cozy vibe makes Midtown Brewing Company a perfect place for a beer with a friend, a work lunch, or to watch the games on its big screen TVs. If you'd rather eat at home, Midtown Brewing Company offers a terrific carryout menu and free delivery on orders of $20 or more. Visit MidtownBrewingCompany.net or stop by 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing for the Midtown Brewing Company experience.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch and the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar, just north of Frandor on East Saginaw near the Lansing-East Lansing border. They also have a private room there. If you want to get together for a party or just get away from everybody in your life yourself, you call Front 43 and Cask and Company. Ask to reserve the private room. You can get their great menu and beer selection, all for yourself or all for your group. Going to host a fantasy baseball draft. It gets a little late for that. Whatever it might be, a football watch party, NFL draft watch party, Front 43 and Cask and Company, the place for you. All right, let's dig in. I think there are some interesting bets this weekend with before we get to the golf on the college basketball front.
Is there?
Yes.
There's bets that you like.
I'm intrigued by, and I want to talk these through with you.
Okay.
So, on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, you can do exact matchups, not just exact matchups for the final, but, who's going to so Michigan to beat Connecticut, plus 425. Michigan to beat Illinois, plus 375, right? Those seem, like, if you think Michigan's the best team here, I think there's a little bit of value there. If you don't, and again, I'm still walking this through. The other bet I like,
about Michigan.
I like Connecticut to win the whole thing, plus 585. To have a team like UConn, as far as the Final Four, still getting plus 585 when you're getting plus 400 with Illinois, plus 165 with both Arizona and Michigan, plus 585 for UConn. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm saying there's value there. Do you see value in that?
I think it should be a little higher, right?
Really?
Because even if they get past Illinois, right, like either against Michigan or Arizona. See, the problem is you're making too much sense with the Michigan bets.
Yeah.
That's where the money that's the value right there. The problem is I don't want to hear that. Like, I need to be – I'm more apt to bet on that UConn bet that I am. But the honesty, to be honest, the Michigan is probably the value.
So Michigan
they're probably the best team.
Michigan at 165, plus 165 to win the whole thing.
Or that, or the matchup that you were speaking of, right?
Yeah, the two matchups. And if you do the math on that, if you're going to lose one, I think it's still better. I think there's a flaw in the system.
I'd rather just bet 100 on Arizona money line
to win the whole thing.
No, just to win the Michigan
game.
Yeah, and then we go from there. Rather than try to dance around it, I can't because to make the smart bet that would make too much sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm going to.
I don't like either one of these games. Because they're 1.5 point spreads. It's not any fun. The over unders here. The total in the Illinois UConn game is 139.5. We're going to take the under on that. That's boring.
I think I'm going to have a little on UConn.
Oh, the plus 585.
Yeah, I think I'm talking myself into it. I don't, do I think they're the best team left? No, I think Illinois has more offensive punch. I just think there's I like the coaching matchup with Underwood and Hurley for Hurley. And I like Hurley in these situations. And it's, don't get me wrong, I think Tommy Lloyd and Dusty May are both fantastic coaches. I'm not saying, but again, I like Connecticut's chances against Illinois. I kind of like them at +2 a little bit. The problem with basketball is you may think that line is incorrect. It's still only a bucket. It's practically a pick 'em, and it's the odds are, even if you have a really close game, it doesn't wind up being just.
So what you're saying is 10.5-point tees at -485? Lay it heavy? And by the way, Danny Hurley and that ref knew each other, apparently, the headbutting thing.
Yeah, these guys all know all the refs.
You're right, but I mean, it's still weird. Okay, I love how everybody after the fact, actually, the referee, and whatever his name is, and Danny Hurley are actually good for, I don't care. It's still weird. Like, now that I know that, I look at the video 25 times in a row, because I'm like, I cannot believe, no matter if you know the guy, in that moment, you just go up to his forehead and just be like, what up? Give him that weird look.
Can I give you one more future?
Absolutely.
Women's basketball championship, UCLA +600. Now, there's not, right now, there's no value in, if you think UConn's going to win, UConn's -250 to win it, and they're in a,
value.
You think that's value? I do not. I do not find any value in that. Texas is ferocious. They're the only team to beat UCLA. I think UCLA is really good. South Carolina obviously very good. Give me +600 UCLA women. And I'm obviously biased because of what I saw at Breslin Center, but I've watched them play 6-7 times this year. I think they're phenomenal. I think they've got a real shot.
-250 value?
No,
what?
No, not that.
That would be a great gambling show. Guys, I got a great value bet for you guys. UConn, Natty, women's hoops, -250. Let's go.
Oh, goodness.
Take out everything in your bank account.
What, my friend, do you have?
The Valero Texas Open. Norm's picks here. You have to be a very good iron player in this tournament, Graham, at the Valero Texas Open, the final tournament before you can get into the Masters. You win this thing, you're in. So Ricky Fowler, let's go. But anyway, here's the bets. Top 40. We're going heavy on Bud Cauley, my boy Bud Cauley. But you have to be weary. He's got an injury. I mean, I know the guy missed 3 years with a terrible accident. But, yeah, he had a little tweak in his back, WD'd. But I'm still going heavy on him in this tournament because I think he is healthy. Bud Cauley, Tom Kim, Jonathan Vegas, top 40. That pays 10-1, Graham. Top 20, Marco Penge and Willie Zalatoris. +850. That top 20 bet was a little just like my first bet, like one of those gut feel bets. So just, these are golf bets, and I haven't been great since the Players. Actually, Norm hasn't been great. I've been great. Norm hasn't. Outrights.
Fucking Norm.
Norm, dude. Johnny Kiefer, 68-1. Carl Phillips, 275-1, and Bud Cauley, 88-1 are my outrights because you got to have a guy that's a good iron player, and those three guys I think have a little bit of value if you sprinkle on those.
Do you ever touch the Masters a week ahead of time? Because
dude, I already have them.
The odds are out.
Yeah, I have a Chris Gotterup bet from 2 months ago that when he won I hit on something for him, and then I just rolled something over on the Masters.
I am excited for the Masters.
But there's really there was no value in it at the time. I don't look smart betting it, but yeah.
So I don't think there's much value in betting now rather than next week. But
a little bit. At Sunday night, maybe.
Okay.
You can start getting a vibe, but yeah. You can't really go because there's not, these odds are going to go up or down here for next week.
There have been years where the Masters is coming. I've been it's here, but I don't know for this year. Maybe it's just the excited about spring, excited about this. I am fired up for because with the Masters, there are the things that I've really gotten into as I've gotten older, other than Premier League soccer. Change is the majors in golf and tennis, and when and obviously the Australian Open's over, but when these things start, and there's usually one of them going on almost every couple weeks for the next few months, and it just elevates my life. And I'm pretty.
Well, as someone that gets excited about the Valero Texas Open, I can't. I'm with you. I'm excited about the Masters too. But I think these other tournaments, if you follow golf,
there's more money.
Which I follow golf more this year or actually the last 2 years, more than I ever have in my life, and it's fun because I can't gamble on the NBA anymore. So I have to find a sport. You have to pivot sometimes in this gambling world.
This happens in tennis all the time, by the way. the Charleston Open, the Houston Open this week. There's, there are a couple of things. There's a WTA event in Columbia. There's events all over the place. Like there's three. I think there's 3 tournaments on the men's side, at least 2 on the women's side this week. And some of these are small tournaments. And if there's more money to be made than the majors. The majors, it's like, here goes Alcaraz and Sinner on a collision course. But if you know your stuff,
there's more eyes on it, so that the odds
and motivation plays a huge role. Like if somebody next week has a big event for them, it's in their home country or it's points they have to defend on tour, and they're not looking to stick around all week, you can find good odds against them, right? Like that stuff happens in tennis all the time. And
that's the problem with golf is these guys, they can be motivated. The problem is sometimes golf, you can't do anything about it because there's a lot of guys that want to sit there and their last ditched effort to get into the Masters. So, but hey,
well. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Anything else we need to get into? I think we can hold Jaden Ivey off for the Twitter questions.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think we will give our takes on Jaden Ivey, but we'll wait to see if anybody wants them.
What's the take? I mean, he's kind of losing his shit. He got kicked off the Bulls. Did the Pistons know something?
Oh, I think they knew. Yeah,
they had to have, right? Did they fleece the Bulls?
Well, and the only thing I'm a little disheartened with is I just hope, like you see him get cut. And I just hope that there's somebody out there to give him some help if he needs it, because I do think.
Well, what help does he need if that's his opinion? Because my first thing when I hear stuff like that is, CTE, CTE.
No,
but no, like I don't.
No, I think it's more. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't believe this stuff. I'm just saying I think he's, when you listen to the longer parts of it, not just the clips, like the live streams and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
I've tried to have a little more of it, because. There have been people that I've been aware of at his age with young men, 24 years old, like that, 25. That's an age when mental health sometimes takes hold in life, and he sounds manic. I'm not saying depression didn't come in from the injuries. I don't know what's going on with him, and I want to be careful not to judge that fully.
No, diagnose him.
But
do it on the show.
But I really hope that he's not just being completely cast aside. And again, it's certain point.
Delonte West. Look at Delonte West. But there's sometimes that certain people, there's only so much you can do if they don't want to help themselves
or their family can't. Right? No.
What's the kid from Duke that? Singer? Singler. No. What was the white kid?
Kyle Singler.
Singler. Yeah. So it has been happening. In the past with some of these guys. Yeah,
happens with lots of people in regular life, and so
But why are you always so cautious to talk? Like it's okay to talk. Because I don't know. You're not saying anything.
I don't think this is just him.
We can talk about the situation that's in front of you, and you can see what Jaden Ivey's been putting out there. You can take. Obviously, you don't know deeply what's going on inside. It's just more of I'm talking about it as from a basketball perspective of did the Pistons see? Because apparently he was asking some of the Pistons reporters. And maybe we can have a more.
So put it this way: I have some people in my life and in my extended family, who are deeply religious in certain ways, and some people would even say a little weird in their religion. Okay, and yet if you went to a family gathering with them, or a Bulls game, or a Lions game, or Michigan State game, or they were on this podcast, you would be able to have a normal conversation with them. And they wouldn't be asking about, your sin. Like, this is not normal behavior, even if you...
But then after you get talked about that, then we talk about God, though. Right?
I'm not saying... Look,
that's what I mean. Like, it's okay. We can have a 5-minute conversation. But then after that, it's all about God. It's like, all right.
That's fine. If you believe what you believe, that's not why he got waived. I do not believe that's why he got waived. He didn't get waived because I don't even believe his opinions being, slightly bigoted or whatever is what got him waived. 2 things got him waived. His declining ability got him waived. Yeah. First and foremost, and then I think his declining. I don't want to say. I think his mental health situation got him.
Jalen Duren has those comments. We're gonna be like, oh man, that's what he's entitled to his opinion. We're still gonna pay him that super max, whatever.
Anyway, so that's the take on that. We can get more into that if you want to in the Groovy Donut Twitter questions.
I just don't like the way you try to pussyfoot. It's okay. We can have a conversation. We're not sitting there trying to slight anybody. We're just, it's an interesting thing that is going on, and yeah, of course. It's like the Tiger thing. You want him to get his help and all that bullshit, but everybody has to do it in a weird way about it.
Yeah, I've just seen
Tiger wants to get pilled out. I don't give a shit. Go ahead, Tiger.
I've just seen that behavior. It's not, if you listen to him speak and sort of the way his brain moves in 12 different directions too. It's not like
it's the Illuminati.
There's some concerns there, I think. But hopefully that he's got some people who love him in his life who can get to him and people can stop just diagnosing him on social media, which is or on podcasts, or like we just did. good show. We appreciate Nick Baumgardner coming on, of course. We'll touch base on whatever Izzo spills in the next couple 24 hours. Like we said, Michigan State Grand Canyon basketball on the moon 2029. I think it's probably the next move. We appreciate Front 43 and Cask & Company. Great place to watch the games this weekend for a date night anytime for lunch. I'm telling you, if you like sushi bowl, like the Big Island Bowl, the Maui Bowl, these things are like my favorite things on earth, outside of maybe a Groovy Donut and a muskox flannel, of course. We'll be back Friday. Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch of the Rube.